Have you ever had a period in your life where it seems like you keep trying to take one step forward, but life keeps hitting you with this and that, and you keep taking 2 steps back? Let me know, because that's kind of what this whole year's been like for us. It just seems like it's been one thing after another. I mentioned it in a previous video, but it just seems like we keep repeating that pattern of 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And recently something else has happened that kind of seems like that pattern was repeating itself again. Not too long ago, my family attended the Homesteading-ish conference, and it was a really neat conference. It had great people there, really positive atmosphere with a lot of great information that was shared. And among some of those great people that were there were our friends, the Hollers from the Holler Homestead. And it was really neat catching up with them again, and it was also neat to hear Ben, who gave a number of great talks at the conference. I too also had the honor and privilege of being a speaker there. But before I gave my first talk, my son Micah, he went from running around having a good time with the Hollers, he went from running around playing and being happy to being in pain. He was having stomach pains. Now, we first thought, man, he was just playing too hard and maybe he got hurt or something, hurt his stomach, or maybe he was chugging water down, which he's done these things in the past. He's chugged water really, really hard and really, really fast, and it's made his stomach hurt. So we thought that was what he was dealing with at first. All right, let's get this. Almost there. Got a little bit of exercise in there. Oh, but anyways, back to Micah. So his pains were going in waves that day, and I ended up giving another presentation, and then right after that we did a panel talk where all the speakers got up there and we got to answer some questions, and I just had a good old time chatting with people. And then after that we wrapped it up for a day, went back to the room, had dinner, and after dinner is when his pains increased even more. And at this point we're starting thinking, okay, it wasn't from chugging water and it wasn't from him playing, most likely. Maybe it's some kind of gas, or maybe it's some type of intolerance to wheat or something like that. Lacie has dealt with that, my wife, in the past big time, and maybe he's starting to have some of this. He's getting older, maybe he's starting to form some intolerance to some of those things, because those are some of the things that he ate that day. And at this point we're starting to think, man, maybe we need to take him to the ER as well. But we were able to get him to go to sleep and rest up, and then the next morning the waves start again. He'd be better, and then he would be bad. We're like, we just need to get home, talk to our doctor, one of our doctors, and go from there. All right, where do we start? Let's start moving some things out of the way. Hold on. Well, we got back home. It was a relief to be back home. And again, his pains were going in waves, and a full day had passed, and the next morning he woke up just in tears because of pain. I was like, all right, we're definitely taking him to the ER. And at this point, it's as a parent, it's so tough to see your child just in pain, and just like you wish you could take that pain on yourself. And it's tough, and not knowing what's going on that made it even tougher. But we get him to the ER, and they start checking on him and doing a number of tests, and it's just tough seeing him laying in the hospital bed. It's tough.
Now, heading straight to the ER is far from my #1 thing to try, unless someone is bleeding or broken. Then we go straight to the ER. But if somebody has just some ailments, I like to try everything at my disposal at home first and then go to the ER. And that's what we did. You know, whenever Micah presented with pain, I was always checking for fever, vomiting, which he had none of that. And I was just knocking things off. So I tried homeopathy. We used the Rife machine. We used herbal stuff. But it just seemed like this pain wasn't going away, and it was definitely something that we were staying right on top of. We called our family doctor and asked their opinion of what we should do. And, you know, everything, it just kept adding up that we needed like further investigation on like what was really going on with Micah.
That rope right there, dude. Maybe. There we go. Stay together. Made it. And I also want to mention that he was having bowel movements. He wasn't having a fever. All those big triggers you definitely want to keep an eye out for. But after running the test, they didn't have anything conclusive to determine what was wrong with him. They were thinking at this point it was an appendicitis, because they were saying that they've seen increases with youth having appendicitis now, and the pain that he was describing was right at his belly button area, basically a line right in that area. But he gradually started feeling better after spending a couple hours in the ER, and then they told us what to do, and they said if pain starts shifting over to the side, then definitely bring him back in, and definitely appendicitis. So that's what we were thinking it was, and for the next few days he would do better, and then he would have some pains again off and on, and we're like, man, this is just crazy. Constantly talking to one of our doctors and just trying to manage his diet and make him as comfortable as possible. And this went on way longer than I would have liked for it to have gone on for. It's just not fun at all.
And to clarify a little bit about why they sent us home from the hospital, well, they did have blood work. His white blood cell count was slightly elevated, but not enough to be like considered him having any kind of infection. And we did an ultrasound, and that didn't show anything. So really the only symptom that he had was this pain. And the ER doctor, she didn't feel like it warranted an MRI, because that is a lot of radiation, especially on a child's body and in the stomach area. So we wanted to hold off on that. So she felt comfortable sending us home and just keeping, you know, a close eye on him and see how he did over the next few days.
And during these days that he was in pain, it's tough to deal with. It was tough to focus on the normal things that you need to do, just because you're just thinking about your child that's in pain. And Lacie and I at the time were praying. The whole family was praying. Others were praying about it. Lacie and I were also doing our own research, trying to figure out what we could do on our end and what maybe we can figure out some more information, as well as continue to talk to one of our doctors. And it was tough. It was tough.
We continued to be proactive to do our part to help Micah as well. So we kept a close eye on him, but we also continued with the homeopathic remedies and using the Rife machine on contact mode, which seemed to be helping, along with things like castor oil on his belly, just to help do everything we could to help his health improve.
These rocking chairs look pretty decent right there. Yeah, just dirty. Yeah, those are nice. Don't make them like that anymore. But one night, he was in pain. But he said the pain shifted. It went from where it had been at his belly button down. And then he said the pain was gone. So maybe it was some type of blockage, partial blockage that he finally was able to pass. I don't know. But he was fine and has been fine. Yep, and here he is up here. Should be doing the job I asked him to do. Let's check and see how it's going. There we go. So nice to see him feeling better again, not in any pain. Hopefully that never happens again. So we're also doing some things from a diet standpoint, increasing his water intake, fiber, things like that. So definitely don't want it to happen again. Hey, man, I'm so glad you're feeling better, not having those stomach issues anymore, aren't you?
Yeah.
When you're done with the leaves here, meet me down by the shed and we're gonna work on that together, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So as Micah worked on blowing the leaves, I got back to working on the shed. And around this time is when Micah joined me. And now that you're back to full strength, you can get back to helping me out with projects like this. So let's hop on in there and let's clean this out of here. And stay tuned to see what all he helps me do here.
Or what I do on my own.
That's kind of creepy. Yep, you're definitely back to normal. Let's see if you can run still. Ready? Hut. Oh!
And it's great to see Micah back in action, running around, doing all the things he loves to do. Because, you know, seeing your child in pain, like, I know what I can handle, but when you see your child in pain, it just hurts you in a different way because you know they're hurting. So I'm just glad he's back in action. We're glad to have him back, and hopefully we will never have to deal with that again.